Hard work can chain you. If you don't guide it, it owns you. If you do, it crowns you. In the next minutes, I'll show you how to stop serving your work and make your work serve you. In this video, I am going to show you how to stop being driven by work and start directing it. You'll learn a simple way to cleanse motive, fix one clear aim, do the nearest duty with full care, and drop the cling to results so your work stops draining you and starts building you. You'll get one short drill for breath and posture to steady your voice and mind, and a 3 checkpoint day so this holds even on bad days. By the end, you'll have a 7-day plan to move from always busy to quietly in charge. Here's something most people miss. There are 2 kinds of workers right now. One pushes 12 hours, checks numbers every 10 minutes, sleeps with a clenched jaw, and wakes up tired. The other works fewer hours, looks light, and keeps rising. What's the difference? Not talent, not luck. It's this. One works from hunger and attachment, the other works from truth and freedom. One is pulled by results, the other offers the result and keeps the cause clean. That shift, motive, aim, and mastery is what turns a laborer into a leader. Here's how we'll do it. First, we clean the root your motive so your words and actions serve truth, not vanity. Then we gather all your force behind one idea and write one line that becomes the spine of your day. Next, we do the nearest duty with full attention and drop the outcome so your energy stays free. After that, we tune breath, posture, and pace so your mind stays steady under pressure. Finally, we lock this into a 3 checkpoint rhythm so you never lose the thread. Stay with me. There's a small breath turn halfway through that flips grind into calm power, and a 2-minute end drill you can run anytime fear tries to take the reins. Here's something most people completely miss when they say they want success, and then chain themselves to the grind until their own work starts to own them instead of serving them. Power doesn't come from louder hours or harder faces. It comes from a clean root. It comes from motive. And when the root is crooked, the fruit is bitter. No matter how shiny it looks on the shelf, I've watched 2 kinds of workers in the same room with the same tools and the same clock. One runs hot all day, talks big, checks numbers like a gambler rolling dice, and goes to bed small. The other looks quiet, moves straight, speaks less, and rises without pushing. And the difference isn't talent or luck. The difference is this one inner law that changed everything for me. Motive is the music. If the music is cheap, the dance is noisy. If the music is pure, the step is strong. So in this section, I give you the value that actually sets you free from blind hard work. I show you how to cleanse motive in one morning line, how to cut display and keep service, and how to speak or act to one real person so your force stops leaking in all directions and starts moving like a river with banks. Why does this matter right now, today, not next week? Because getting it wrong means you'll pour your life into work that eats you from the inside. You'll do more and feel less. You'll chase credit and distrust the hands that clap for you. Your voice will get tight. Your breath will get rough. And even when you win, you'll feel hollow because the win wasn't yours. It belonged to the noise. But get this right, and you'll feel the wind drop around your heart like a room closing its windows in a storm. Your words will land heavy without you raising your volume. People will trust you because your own mind trusts you. And quiet confidence will start to show up in the way you sit, the way you ask, the way you finish. That's the stake. That's the real prize. Not more hours, more weight in every hour. And it begins at the root where no one is looking, when they're busy trying to look important. What's the solution? Simple and human, so you can run it tomorrow morning without buying anything new. I use 3 clean moves. First, I check the root with one line out loud before the day begins. May my work be true, kind, and useful. I don't chant to feel saintly. I say it to cut show and keep service. That one line makes me throw out the fluff I'd use to look smart. It stops the long build I'd use to hide fear, and it kills the habit of trying to please a crowd I can't even see. Second, I respect time by cutting display and keeping service short lines, straight asks, no vanity padding, because every extra flourish that's meant to impress is a leak in the bucket where your strength should stay. Third, I speak to someone, not at everyone. I picture one face with one need, and I tailor my words and my act to that real person. When you do this, the fog lifts, your ask becomes clear, and the person across from you can finally move, which is the whole point of your work anyway. How do I know this carries weight when the day turns loud? Watch the micro stories right under your feet. Picture two cooks at dawn in the same kitchen. One brags, bangs, pans, shouts at the dough, checks orders every 2 minutes, and blames the crowd when the bread falls flat. The other stands quiet, like a lamp in a windless place, checks the fire, needs exact, rests the dough, bakes on time, and opens the door when the bread is ready to feed real people, same hours. One serves noise, one serves bread. Or look at your own desk, 2 messages to write, 2 meetings to lead, 2 proposals to deliver. The hungry worker tries to look big, and the voice goes high and thin. The rooted worker sees the same, self in all, serves the person in front of them, and the voice sits low and steady. That one inner bow, serve truth, help the listener act, kills arrogance, and raises power without you trying to look powerful. Let me make this practical, so it lives in your body, not just your head. Before you open the first tab, stand or sit with feet down, chest up, jaw soft, and say the line once, steady and low. May my work be true, kind, and useful. Now take the task on top and ask, who is the one person I'm serving right now? Name them, even if it's the buyer on page 3 or the student on the back row. Then cut one sentence you wrote only to sound clever and replace it with one clean ask that moves that one person. Here is the value. Here is the step. Begin. If you feel naked, good. Power likes empty space. If your head says, but I look small, answer, small to whom? To the crowd I invented, I am here for the person in front of me. If your chest tightens, breathe 4 in divided by 6 out twice. Let the wind drop and speak again. Do this once, and the hour stands straighter. Do this daily, and your name starts to mean something when you're not in the room. Would you keep watching now? Yes, because you can feel how a clean route makes even plain work feel high. And once the route is set, it's time to gather the rays so all your force stops scattering and starts burning through one true target. The idea is fixed next, and I'll show you how to write one spine line that becomes the backbone of your talk, your day, and your decisions. The route is set now. I gather all force behind one idea. The route is set, and the wind has dropped. So now I gather the rays, because here's what most people completely miss when they try to look powerful by saying many things in many ways to many people at once. Force doesn't come from more points. Force comes from one line with a backbone. And when I don't have that backbone, my work slumps and my words spread thin like butter on too much bread. I talk longer to feel safer. I stack slides to look smarter. I repeat myself without meaning to, and still nothing lands. Then look at the other path, the quiet worker who seems to move rooms with a few plain sentences. What's the difference? Not talent, not volume. It's this. One idea, one line, one spine. Because when the spine is clear, everything else knows where to stand. Every story, every stat, every step either serves the spine or leaves the room. And that law saves time, saves breath, and saves me from the small hunger to impress, which is why this part matters right now if I am tired of talking hard and moving no one. So I set the stakes clean, get this wrong, and I'll spend hours building a wide house where no door fits. People will nod and forget. I'll hit publish and feel hollow because nothing changed. Get this right, and my work feels heavy in the best way. Not slow, but sure. Like a hammer that finds the nail on the first strike, and the room remembers because the line gave them a handle strong enough to carry into their own day. What's the move then? Simple, human, you can do it now. What, I write the spine before I write anything else? I write it by hand so my body knows it. If they remember only this, I win. I fill that blank with 7 to 10 plain words, no glitter, no hedge, and I read it out loud. If my jaw tightens or my voice goes up, the line is crooked. 1. So I cut a word, swap a soft one for a verb, and read again until it sits low and true. Then I run the knife. If a story, slide, metric, or joke doesn't serve the spine, it's gone. And yes, I'll feel naked for a minute. Good power likes empty space. Next, I shape the spine 3 ways so it lives everywhere. Promise what they get, proof, 1 clean story or number, and ask the step they take now. That's it. Not 15 bullets. 3 strikes of the same nail. Now I show you how this walks in real rooms, so it's not theory. I had a page last month that sprawled like a river in flood. 12 points, 7 subpoints, 5 quotes I didn't need. I cut it to a spine. Serve the cause, offer the fruit, promise. When you serve the near cause and drop the cling, your energy returns. Proof, a baker doesn't ask the dough for likes. He serves heat and time, and the bread rises. Ask, name your nearest duty in 1 line and begin 1 honest block. The draft that had eaten 2 afternoons suddenly wrote itself in 40 minutes because every piece either fed the spine or left the room. Another day, it was a sales call. I wrote a spine, 1 clear fix, 1 clean next step. Promise, I'll solve 1 pain today. Proof, in 60 days, this cut churned by half. Ask, let's pilot with 1 team for 10 days. Meeting ran 12 minutes instead of 45. Decision made, everyone's shoulders dropped. 1 more email subject that kept getting cute. I gave it a spine. Finish 1. Promise in the preview line. Proof in a single sentence. Ask with 1 link. Open rate up. Replies simple. Day saved. Numbers aren't magic. The spine is. Let me drop a few pattern breaks you can use mid-creation so attention stays bright while you are building the line. I change tone on the spine itself, soft voice for setup, firm for the line so the ear knows to hold it. I give a tiny humor nudge right after I cut a section. This slide looked important until we asked it to pay rent. So the team laughs and lets go without drama. I ask a rhetorical that brings the room inside the cut. If they only remember this tomorrow, would we be happy? And I answer it plain to keep pace. Then I plant a micro cliffhanger. That's powerful enough on its own, but when we tie this spine to your breath and posture, you'll hear your own voice land heavier without adding a single word. See how that pulls you forward? Good. That's spine doing its second job, guiding momentum. If you're thinking, but my topic is complex, I hear you. Keep the spine simple and let depth live in the proof. Complexity is a forest. The spine is the trail marker. Without it, everyone gets lost. If you're thinking, I don't know which line to pick, write 2 spines and read them out loud. The one that sits low in the chest wins. If you're thinking, won't I repeat myself? Yes, on purpose. The mind learns by rhythm. Promise, proof, ask is rhythm. Try it now with me, so this isn't just nice talk. Take your next piece and write by hand. If they remember only this, I win, and fill it. 7 to 10 words, speak it, trim a soft word, swap a noun for a verb, speak it again. Now draft 1 promise sentence, 1 proof story in 3 lines, 1 ask in 6 words or less. Feel how your shoulders drop because the road is straight. That feel is time returning to you. Would you keep watching now? Yes, because you can sense how the spine turns scattered effort into directed fire. And you want to know what to do next when the clock starts and the pressure climbs. So here's the bridge. The idea is fixed. The line is strong. Now we move our hands. I'll show you how to take the nearest duty, do it with full care, and offer the fruit. So outcomes stop yanking your mind like a rope. We're about to make excellence feel light. Excellence first, numbers later, and that's where kings are crowned. The idea is fixed and the spine is strong. So now I move my hands, and here's the part that flips grind into rule. Because most people, once they have a message, stare at the far result until their mind frays and their breath turns thin. They check numbers mid-task as if numbers could knead dough. They reread old praise to feel tall. They scroll new noise to feel busy. And by noon they're spent and still nowhere. But the worker who becomes a king does something quieter and stronger. Excellence first, numbers later, which means I give myself to the nearest duty with full care and I offer the fruit. When I'm done, I don't cling to outcomes while the cause is still in my hands. Why does this matter right now? Because when I clutch results, I split my attention, and split attention kills quality. And when quality dies, I have to shout to be heard and push to be seen, and I become a slave to the very work that was meant to serve me. But when I serve the cause that is under my fingers this second and let the fruit go, when it leaves my fingers, the whole day straightens. My energy returns to me. People feel the weight of my work without my voice getting loud. And the numbers, when I finally look at them, begin to come like harvest in season, sow clean, reap in time. So here's what I do in plain steps that fit in a crowded morning. I name the nearest duty out loud in one clear line. Here's the nearest duty. Write the first paragraph. Here's the nearest duty. Call Anna and confirm the date. Here's the nearest duty. Scrub the 3 invoices, and then I work in one short, honest block, not heroic, just exact, 10 or 12 minutes that I actually keep. No peeking, no side quests. Finish one, let a small bell of completion ring in my chest, and then I offer the result, which means I release my claim on it, send the mail, ship the paragraph, file the sheet, breathe, and start the next inch. Numbers? Yes, they matter, but I promise them a window later. Dashboards at 4, replies at the top of the hour, and because they have a home, they stop scratching at the door. I keep the craft in the morning and the crowd in the window, and the day stops stealing my will. Now, how does this walk when the world is pulling at my sleeve? Watch a tiny chain from my desk last week. I had a report due and a dashboard that loves to shout. The old way is to type 2 lines, glance at the graph, feel a dip, type 3 more lines, check the count, feel a spike, and wreck my head. Instead, I stood tall, said 1 line, nearest duty, outlined 3 bullets, set a 12-minute timer, and finished the bullets without a peek. Offer the fruit paste to the doc. Breathe 4 in, divided by 6 out, one's nearest duty. Draft bullet. 1. Timer again, finish 1, offer it. Nearest duty, draft bullet 2. And by the time the window for metrics came, I had a clean page and a quiet chest. I opened the numbers for 5 minutes. Took 1 note, closed them like a door, and went back to the next inch. I didn't move faster. I moved cleaner, and clean always beats noisy over a day. Another morning, I watched 2 students with the same assignment. One kept researching and never wrote a line. The other wrote a single ugly paragraph before looking at a source. By lunch, the first had tabs to show, and the second had pages to edit. And the only difference was this law: serve the cause at hand, offer the fruit, then start the next. You might be thinking, but if I don't watch the numbers, I'll miss a fire. And I'll answer, give fires a bell and the rest a window. Set a real alert for what truly can't wait, and let everything else wait for its hour. You might say, but my task is too big. Split it down until it becomes an inch you can name without sighing, and if it still feels heavy, split it again and again until your chest lifts when you say it, because the body knows when the duty is true. Try it now. So this lives in muscle and not only mind. Whisper your nearest duty once. Count 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Begin one honest minute. Finish that small edge. Say offered, and lay your hand on the next inch. Feel that heat in the ribs? That's power coming back to you because you've stopped dragging tomorrow into today. Would you keep watching now? Yes, because your hands are moving and your voice is steady, and you can sense there's one more lever that makes all this hold under pressure, steady nerve, and that's breath, posture, and pace. The head and hands are steady. Now we keep the mind still, so power stays, and when the room gets loud, you learn to make the room to obey the steady. I've set the root and shaped the spine and moved my hands on the nearest duty, and now I make it hold under pressure, because here's the quiet law that people miss when the room gets loud and the clock gets sharp and the mind starts to race ahead of the mouth. Words don't lead the room first, nerves do, and if my nerves are bent, my sentences fall even when the grammar is perfect. But if my nerves are steady, even a soft ask feels heavy. So I train the thing that carries every word before the word appears. Breath, posture, pace. Why does this matter right now? Because getting this wrong means I'll sound rushed, I'll look unsure, I'll bleed trust in the first 10 seconds and spend the next 10 minutes trying to earn back what I lost for free. Getting it right means I walk in and the air calms a little. I start slower and land harder. My pauses ring like a bell on iron. And by the time I ask, people want to follow because their bodies felt safe before their minds caught up. So what do? Simple and exact, so you can run it today. I stand with both feet grounded like roots under a tree. I lift the chest so the ribs make room for breath. I soften the jaw so sound isn't squeezed thin. And I take 2 rounds through the nose of 4 in and 6 out, not to look zen, but to drop the wind so the lamp burns steady. Then I speak in short, clean lines, 1 thought per line, so meaning has edges. And I put weight on nouns and verbs because that's where power lives. And I cut fillers that apologize for me before I've even started, maybe. Just, I think that, and swap them for straight twins. Let's begin. I see. How does this hold when stakes rise? A tiny story. I had a call where money, time, and pride were all in the same room. The old me would have rushed, stacked words, chased approval, but I did the body first. Ground, lift, soften 2 turns of 4/6. Then I let the first line be a landing, not a sprint. Here is the fix. Here is the next step. And I watched shoulders drop that weren't mine. The meeting ended in 12 minutes instead of 45. And nobody felt pushed. They felt carried. Another day I had to say no to a big chance. I knew if I said it fast, I'd sound small and scared. So I slowed. Let silence arrive and set the pace like a drummer line. Pause. Line. This isn't aligned. This is our path. Here's how we'll serve you next month. And the no landed like a gift because the nerve was steady and the ask was clean. Now try this with me so it lives in muscle. Stand or sit with feet down. Lift the chest. Let the jaw slacken a little. Breathe 4 in and 6 out twice. On the second out breath, whisper the spine you wrote earlier and hear how it sits lower. Now speak your next ask in 1 line and count in your head 1 to 2 before you breathe again. That count is the anvil under your hammer words. That's why the ring carries. Now the likely objections: I don't have time for this before a call. You don't have time not to. 2 breaths is 14 seconds and saves 14 minutes of correction. I'll sound too slow. No, you'll sound certain. Slow is only dead when it's muddy. Slow with edges is heavy. My topic is complex. That's exactly why pace matters. The faster you go, the fewer ideas survive. The slower you go, the more ideas arrive. Let me add a pattern break. You can drop mid-sentence when you feel speed grabbing the reins. Stop on a verb, not a comma. Look at one face long enough to finish a thought, then finish. That tiny silence tells the room you're not being chased. Another pattern break. Smile with your eyes, not your mouth. Right before a hard line, excellence first, numbers later. The warmth keeps the weight from feeling like a blow, and a micro cliffhanger to pull the ear forward. That's strong on its own. But tie this steady nerve to the 3 checkpoint day, and you won't just perform once. You'll repeat on command even when the world leans on you. Hear how that makes the mind step with you to the next point? Good. Now, a last micro story. Because stories teach what rules can't. 2 speakers, same script, one hunched, breath high, words in a rush. The other tall without strain, breath low. Words like steps on stone. The first asked hard and got silence. The second asked soft and got action. Same content, different carrier. The charioteer held the reins. The horses didn't run him. Would you keep watching now? Yes, because you can feel your own body getting quiet and your voice getting weight without extra effort. And once the body and breath and pace are tuned, there's only one thing left to make this unbreakable. Bind it to a daily rhythm. You won't drop on a bad day. You've got the shape and the strength. Now I tie it into a wheel. You can roll for 7 days and keep for a life. And when the dip comes, you won't argue. You'll return on command. You've cleaned the route, and the hunger went quiet. You've gathered the rays into one line with a spine that doesn't bend. You've put your hands on the nearest duty and offered the fruit without clutching. And you've tuned breath, posture, and pace so the room obeys the steady. So now I bind all of this into one living rhythm you can carry out the door today, not tomorrow. A rhythm that doesn't break when the day leans on you. Hear it as one long, clear line you can say under your breath when the noise rushes in. Motive is the music, one idea is the spine. Excellence first and numbers later. The room obeys the steady, and then make it walk with 3 small stations you hit no matter what. Morning, noon, night. In the morning you write one spine line by hand. If they remember only this, I win. You breathe 4 in divided by 6 out twice. You name the nearest duty and begin one honest block before the world wakes up. And you keep your craft while the crowd waits. At noon you stand up, shake the dust, read your spine once, and give yourself a play. Single nearest duty for 10 minutes, no heroics, just exact work. Then you offer the fruit and return to the day without checking the mirror to see if you look important. At night you write one win and one fix and you release the rest, because guilt is not a plan and worry is not work. And you mark 1 dot on a card to show your promise kept. 7 dots make a road under your feet. And a week like this bends a month without strain. If you stumble, you don't explain, you return. If you forget, you don't scold, you begin now. Because kings don't waste time arguing with yesterday, they rule the inch in front of them today. Say it with me once. Steady and low so it sits in the chest and not just in the mouth. I serve the cause, I offer the fruit. Again, slower. I serve the cause, I offer the fruit. Good. For 7 days, do this without drama. 1 spine line at dawn, 1 honest block on the nearest duty before messages, one small return at noon, one win divided by one fix at night. Give numbers a named window later. Let the crowd come after craft, and watch how your hours stop feeling like a leash and start feeling like reins in your hands. And if you want a fast edge you can snap on before any hard, ask a pitch, a call, a camera, a room. There's a tiny turn in the exhale almost everyone misses that locks your voice and your focus on command. Curious to feel it click in 2 minutes? Then come with me right now. Watch next, the 2-minute focus control on command. We'll stand together, set the feet, lift the chest, soften the jaw, place the breath, turn that little key on the out-breath, and you'll hear your own words land heavier without getting louder. Don't add R's, add power. Start tonight.